lot of people have asked me today, hello. This is Tom from Tom and Ruth Philippine Adventures. Quite a few have asked, how is the van doing and how is it maintaining and what's going on with it. So today we're going to talk about that briefly. Raining with the sun shining. Anytime you buy a used vehicle, it's a luck of the draw. It's like throwing cards up in the air and hoping you catch one on the way down. What kind of car did you get? And I have to say that I've been pretty lucky. And thank the Lord for that. It has. We have put about 10,000 miles on the van since I bought it, and maybe a little more than 10,000 miles. In a short period of time. And I mean, to get 10,000 miles on a van here it's a lot. I mean, a lot of trips to CDO, a lot of trips to the markets, going to Valencia, going up the mountains this last month. I mean, the thing performed perfectly going up down those mountain roads. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. If you guys understand grades, how grades work, you know, here we are here on a level road, and you get up about 20%, and then it can go up higher than that to get it to 45. But if you have roads at 20% grade and you're coming down those roads, this is pretty steep, and I'm not sure it's not higher than that in some cases. Some cases going down those roads and going up those roads, it's literally feels like you're going down like this. Because, well, it's just the way it is. They don't cut through mountains here. They don't cut through anything. They just go over the top of them. There's no cutting here or cutting through something. What they do is they go over the top of the mountains, and they try to wind through the valleys and the creases, and that's where they get the landslides. And that's a lot here in Mindinao. Excuse me. I don't know about anywhere else, but that's a lot here. So the van is actually doing pretty well. I cannot complain about it. I did notice something the other day I'm going to have checked out. Is the motor's running fine, the air conditioner's running fine. I noticed it used a little bit of oil, and what I mean by a little bit, going up those grades, because we had some heavy loads, it used about half a quart. So I'm gonna check for leaks. I didn't see any leaks anywhere. I think those old motors on those things, when we purchased it, it had 153,000 miles on it. I read through the documents. I had stated earlier that it was 158, but I was wrong. It was 153,000. I gotta realize I didn't have my glasses on when I looked at that. So 153,000. So right now it's at 163,000, almost 164,000 miles on that van. And so there's 10,000, 11,000 miles that we put on that van in a really short period of time. It has new tires on it. As you know, I'm really I'm spastic about getting new tires on a vehicle. I will not drive a vehicle unless it has new tires. I don't like the hassle of changing tires and all that stuff, and it has a spare. But everything seems to be running fine. Ruth just added a roof mount antenna to it, so that looks really nice, and it gives it some good radio now where we didn't have it, because I had accidentally hit it and tore it down when we were pulling out of the driveway one day. What had happened, she had her tarpaulin down for her flower, and I drove underneath it, which I always had before, but apparently it had dropped some, and my antenna got caught out, and I ripped it off. So no worries to put a new one on. But the car itself is running good. The van is running good, and so I'm glad to say the paint's holding up fine. We've waxed it probably about 3 or 4 times since we've had it because of the mud and the rains and things like that. But having a vehicle here, I got to tell you, a lot of guys say we're going to buy a new vehicle instead of buying an older one, and I agree. Buying an older one is really testing your luck because you really don't know. As you guys know, I had a car before and I got a lemon. It's really bad. So buying a new car is a good idea. But, you know, something I do have to say, when you buy a new car here, is make sure you get the height. The height of the vehicle has to be as high as you can get it. If not, get some shocks and add it on to your car that will give you height. Because what's going to happen, if you have a big boulder about the size, 4 times the size of my head in the middle of the road, you think, well, I'll just straddle it. Well, you can straddle it if you're in a high van like mine, or a truck, a pickup truck. But even in some cases, you'll rip off your oil pan. And a lot of guys have ripped off their oil pans and destroyed their motor without them even knowing it, and just keep on driving. Even though I bought them out and they hear it scrape, no big deal, it's fine. And they go on, their motor's shot. And don't get me wrong, they can replace those motors, but it's not as easy as it seems. The cars, finding parts for vehicles is really hard. My brother-in-law is finding that out. He has a car from Korea, and they're trying to find parts for it, and it's really hard. This car is from Japan. There's thousands of these here. So finding a part is easy, and I thought about that. If I need to find a new motor, no worries, I can get a motor. If I need to find a certain part for it that only specific to that car, I can find it, because it's like a multi-cab, and that's what they're doing. It's only a 3-cylinder, 66 horse motor in that thing. So it's not like that it's this big motor. I got the width of the vehicle this wide on purpose because I can get through the streets, because streets are half the size as they are in U.S. So I can get down the streets easy, where a vehicle has to come to complete stop and they can't get down the streets. It's really hard. A lot of times they run off and hit the mailboxes, or trash bins, not mailbox, trash bins. There's no mailboxes here. Trash bins on the side of the road, or trash, or they run off the road itself and get in these big potholes and wonder why their truck and brand new car has a problem in the front end. They do align the cars here so you can keep that in tune and get that alignment squared away. They do, I did a video on 4-wheel alignment. But having a vehicle, you have to really watch what you're doing here, because the streets are so narrow. I mean, because a vendor will have his thing out, and then somebody put another vendor in front of that. So it's out in the street 9/10 of the time, and then you got kids running out. It's just it's a torture. It's a nightmare. You have to be very careful. Sure, people get hit all the time, and it's just not publicized. It's just the way life is. And so when you're traveling with, and that's the reason I got that car, and I wanted to have that particular design, is because that's the way it's small. And sure, it's cramped on the inside. I mean, we're not button shoulders, but we're this far away from the shoulders, where a normal car, you can be this far away. And you can hit somebody if you had to in the middle here. You can in that car, but it has to be pretty small. So it is a little cramped, I have to say. It's not an American car. It's for short people. It's for people that are smaller than I am. And so it's been worthwhile. Would I get that van again? Yes. Would I buy that van again? Yes. Would I get any other car that I have? No. Because the van sits up high, I see over all the other cars except for the big trucks, and of course the American styles SUVs. But I can get around in it. I can squeeze in places where they can't. There's a lot of times the guys get so frustrated at me when I'm driving, because I can squeeze in the cars and maneuver around like this in the stoplight, where they're stuck. They can't move anywhere. And I'm 10 miles down the road, and you see them doing 100 kilometer an hour to pass me, because they've gotten so angry and road rage. And yes, they have road rage here. Yes, a lot of road rage. It's just nature of the beast. How can you not, when you have thousands of people and motorcycles on the road and they're doing it? We see a lot of road rage here. So probably as much or more than you would in any other country, because people get frustrated, they get tired. They're tired of driving. They're tired of the hassles. And a lot of times you're stuck on the road for an hour, sometimes over a landslide or an accident, or just because the traffic is so heavy. We sat in traffic one time almost 3 hours, and I'll never forget that. And it was on a high, I was up in the mountains, and it was some people got in an accident, and you couldn't get on, or you couldn't go either way because you go off the side of the cliff. So it's just the way things are. That's what happens when you live in a country like that. Is They're trying to get it all squared away, but it's going to probably take another, 20 years, 30 years to get the road squared away in the mountains. I mean, there's just a lot of mess. We come down to that one part I'm telling you that is so steep. It's like this, and then I'm automatic, and I'm changing the gears in the low and running it down instead of having me pushing on them brakes constantly, and everybody else doing the same thing in their automatic cars. But you get there and you get down to almost the bottom, and there's this 2-foot gap from the pavement to gravel. And in that is a ditch. So people take it head on and they bam, and they bottom out. And the key is don't take anything like that head on, even if you have to come complete stop. Is take it sideways. Take one wheel off, and then do it like this, or like this, depending where you're at. I had to do it like this, and I found a way. And people started following me and started realizing, oh, is that the way you do that? And it worked out easier. So I noticed that the cars before me went straight on, the cars behind me did exactly what I did, and found it so much easier. But that's driving an old step-side truck and vans and trucks in the U.S. I had to do that a lot of, because as you know, you're going in these parking lots with the big curbs. You got to understand how to, instead of popping and knocking everything off your shelves of your step-side van. So I want to thank everybody for watching my videos, and thank you so much. And thank you so much today. God bless everybody, and I'll see you guys next time.